Hello everyone, I just finished playing Neo the World... What's going on? Am I stuck in a bit? Okay, I get it. Make me play the Reaper's game, what a funny joke. Except now I'm stuck like this. Guess I should check my phone. Review Neo the World Ends With You. You have 10 minutes. Fail and face erasure. Well damn, I guess they're not giving me much choice in the matter. Let's go ahead and do it. First, let's discuss combat. The combat is fantastic in my opinion. Combos are insanely satisfying to pull off, especially when you're alternating between team members with different abilities, or as the game calls them, psychs. You set different pins to different members of the party, and those pins are used by pressing their corresponding buttons. This is one of those things that's very easy to learn, but much harder to master. The party member who uses the last pin you used is usually the one that you're controlling on the battlefield, except for when you're using a pin where you hold down the button to charge it while attacking other people with other party members. This looks and sometimes feels like absolute chaos, but there is certainly a method to their madness. You don't have to worry about party members being very far away. If they are far away and you use their button, they'll just whoosh to where you are and start using their psych. And there is such a wide variety of psychs and pins. In fact, if you don't sell your old pins, you'll start getting way too many to even keep track of. Just a couple of issues that I had with the combat. It seemed like party members could get hit or trapped even when you're not controlling them. They do a good job of avoiding attacks, but they could certainly be a lot better. There were multiple times where some people kept getting captured because they weren't avoiding the attacks. You also didn't really have a huge variety of enemies to fight. You had some carried over from the first game and a few original ones, but not very many. Where there was a lack of enemies, it seemed like they were trying to make up for it by having you fight other players from other teams. But they also lacked differences, and each person just felt the same. I just feel like a little bit of variety could have spiced things up a lot. They brought back a lot of great mechanics from the first The World Ends With You. You encounter enemies by scanning, allowing them to touch you, and you can chain multiple encounters by allowing multiple noise symbols to get to you. As soon as you want to start the fight, you press X or whatever your confirm button is, and then the battle starts. By chaining multiple encounters though, it increases your drop rate, which is basically where you get money and pins at the end of battles. This gives you control over how many enemies you fight, and once you learn which symbols produce which enemies, what you fight as well. You can also turn your level down to increase the drop rate, which will make battles harder, but much more rewarding at the end of them. You're also able to increase or decrease your difficulty whenever you want. On hard or expert mode, you get a chance to score rarer or higher value pins than on normal or easy. So if you go on expert or hard, lower your level, and encounter multiple noise symbols, the end of your battles are going to be so satisfying because of what and how many pins you're going to be getting, which you can then use or sell. Not only are the end of battle rewards amazing, but the game also does a great job of leaving you in control of how hard or easy you want to make it. You also have shops and restaurants to frequent. And I love the roles that they play. You can eat food at restaurants and it'll boost your stats just by a little bit permanently, like 1 or 2 at a time. And depending on what you eat, different stats will be raised. And you can shop for clothes at stores, which will act as your equipment. It's kind of like taking basic RPG elements like equipment shops and turning them into something to fit this game, and I love it. The art style is gorgeous. I found it kind of strange that those animated scenes you see in the trailer and the beginning of the game were few and far between, and I feel like the game could have used more of them to more properly convey the emotional impact of some of the scenes, but I didn't really mind the manga or comic book style. It was gorgeous. The voice acting was also pretty good, and that is something that we didn't have in the first game, so it was a really nice touch. Oh, and don't even get me started on the music. The soundtrack is simply amazing. They had a few songs from the first game, some remixes, plus a lot of original tracks. This soundtrack, I would say honestly, rivals that of the Persona series, and that's saying a lot. I've always been amazed by how The World Ends With You makes an entire game out of just one area. You're in Shibuya, and that's it. The trick is that you're always doing something different on each day and in each part of the city. Plus you have tons of characters and the story itself is extremely well written that the area size kinda just lends itself to the overall experience. It doesn't feel like you're limited in space. The only thing I disliked about the world is that I didn't have a free camera when walking around it. So there was a few times where I'd run into something or I'd miss something and not realize it because I'm very depth perceptionally challenged, if that's even a word. I really enjoy the tiny little quick chats that the characters tend to do. They add a little bit to whatever is going on and makes things feel a little bit more normal. Unfortunately, whenever it's happening, you cannot move between locations or enter shops, which means that if you're in a hurry or you don't care about what they're saying, you have to sit through it or just tap the button quickly and get it over with. Every day you get a mission, and sometimes you will run into wall reapers and they won't let you pass until you clear their objective. These missions and objectives will include fighting and puzzle or riddle solving. We already discussed how amazing the combat is, but the puzzles and riddles are also very engaging. They never really get old. They spice things up with something different each and every time. Another great addition to this game is the social network. The social network allows you to turn meeting new people and helping NPCs into perks in gameplay. You help someone and then you use friendship crystals to unlock the perk locked behind that person within the network. For example, one character has Shibu Pay, which is something very useful when you get money pins, and those automatically turn into yen. This system incentivizes players to go off the beaten path and help people out for small little perks instead of money or items like in normal RPGs. Despite a few flaws, I still absolutely love this game. This is a fantastic sequel to The World Ends With You. They were able to add to the charm the first game had without really taking away too much. They were able to make the game its own with great combat, great art, great music, and an interesting story. The game has a few things that bug me, like no free camera and lack of variety in enemies and people, but the pros far outweigh the cons for me. This game is one of the most creative games I have ever played. I felt the same magic as I did when I played the first game for the first time. It's an amazing experience, and I would highly recommend it to just about anyone, not just JRPG lovers. I'll give it my personal rating of 8.5 out of 10. Whoa, perfect. There we go. Thank you guys so much for tuning into today's video. If you enjoyed it, please go ahead and give it a like. And if you want to chat with me live about anything discussed in this video or videos prior, I do stream live on Twitch every single Sunday. Have a wonderful day, evening, night, wherever and whenever you guys are. And as always, stay crazy.